Episode 3 of Obi-Wan is here, and I'm here to talk about it. Why? Because of the film properties out there, Star Wars is one of the last ones that people don't take too seriously anymore. Also, for my money, this was the best of the 3 episodes. I mean, if you're asking my opinion, which is my channel. I feel like that's what you're here for. Okay, and spoiler alert. I'm going to talk about spoilers. You need that spoiler alert for this one. I'm just saying. All right, so in this episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi, I know, you want me to just go ahead and talk about it. We need to build up. We need to build up to it. Though, I did like this episode most of, I feel like Austin Powers in Goldmember, where he's like, that said, I do have some thoughts. I feel like Lucasfilm should have a department, a division of people known as the Nitpick Division. A department of people that comb through outlines and scripts for Star Wars movies and shows, looking for all the contradictions in lore, all the nitpicks that YouTube douchebags like myself are gonna point out, like Grand Inquisitor being dead. It's not even a nitpick, that's like big, like, what the fuck? Anyhow, Obi-Wan's out there trying to get Leia to safety, and then he runs into stormtroopers, they run into stormtroopers, which when it started getting heated, I was like, why not just be like, you were never here. I did like with Obi-Wan and Leia, when Obi-Wan's talking about Leia's mother, and he's talking about Padme. That was cool, that was really heartfelt. But there's this commander who's actually good, which I like that they addressed it, because, you know, as you get older and lore expands, and, well, not lore, it's your perception of rebellions and empires and how these things unfold. You think, like, what about the commanders who aren't bad? They just realize that they are now fighting for the bad guys. Like when Padme was like, you ever think we may be on the wrong side? But they do reference that, can't think of the name, but it was a name of a person, a Jedi, and I was like, he's from Clone Wars. Hello, comment section. Thank you for filling the comment section with the answer to that. Cool reference. Also, I was like, oh, there's more living Jedi out there. I guess the Empire is not very good at their job. Remember when Yoda was like, the last of the Jedi you will be. Now it's like, nah, there's like 10 more out there. It's fine. All right, so Grand Inquisitor is dead. We got a couple of answers in this episode. A couple of insinuations anyway. We're closer to the answers. One, Grand Inquisitor seems to be dead. Seems like he's just not out there. Or is part of Vader's master plan, like he's alive, but they can't know it. It's all part of my scheme. That or Rebels Grand Inquisitor is a different Grand Inquisitor than Obi-Wan Grand Inquisitor, who happens to be the same species, but Vader's like, look, my quest to find tic-tac head-shaped Grand Inquisitor commences. Round head Grand Inquisitor, he can go ahead and be dead. They're two different people. I don't know, it's weird that someone who died in Rebels is dead now before Rebels. And Reva and Vader have had FaceTime, and apparently he's totally cool with the fact that she knows that he's Anakin Skywalker. Or was. And I know I said people don't live through knowing that, and people are like, dude, Grand Moff Tarkin and Grand Admiral Thrawn, or I meant people who... Grand Moff Tarkin's one of the 2 people that Vader actually took orders from in the original Star Wars, so I get that he can know and it's fine. Grand Admiral Thrawn's a master tactician. Blabbing that information to the galaxy would put the galaxy in more civil unrest. The PR would be a nightmare, so I get that the Emperor knows that he's not gonna blab. But I'm just saying, someone under Vader in the order of Inquisitors, which you see in here, you see in this episode, there is intrigue among the Inquisitors and the storyline there. There's plotting, there's scheming, there's people like, hey, I want to be the new Grand Inquisitor, I'm next in line, it shouldn't be you. But as that is in an Obi-Wan series, it feels like they're making 2 different shows. 2 different shows that have gone splat into one show, which logistically is kind of dumb. It's like, all right, you have the Reva Inquisitor storyline and the Obi-Wan Kenobi storyline, you fuse them into one show? That's half the views you would get. Because I'd clock in for an Inquisitor show. I'm just saying. Why wouldn't you make it a separate show? You could double your views and double the profits. I don't get it. Because there's intrigue with the character Reva. It's like, is she evil? Does she have some good? She obviously has her own angle she's playing. I actually wouldn't be surprised if some years down the road we find out that a Star Wars Inquisitor show was planned to be its own thing. And they were like, we'll just fuse it into Obi-Wan and make it an Obi-Wan show. Bummer is I'm not here for that right now. I'm here for the Obi-Wan story. And Obi-Wan meeting Vader, and well, here we are. It happened in this episode. Vader strolls into this town. That was actually really cool, man. It was like seeing the monster. It's like, oh my god, the monster's here, and he's walking through this town. Obi-Wan was feeling a myriad of emotions, I imagine. He was just like, that's it, oh my god, he's terrible. He's like force choking people and breaking their necks in front of Obi-Wan. Trying to, I think, anyway, this is the way I interpreted it, trying to get an emotional response out of Obi-Wan so we can sense where Obi-Wan is. He can sense the fear and the pain. And they had their face-to-face. I was like, okay, they had their face-to-face and a lightsaber duel, a lightsaber fight of sorts. It's kind of a shoddy one, but it happened. In episode 3, like, in terms of climbing and tension and build up, I would think you would have that in episode 6 of a 6-part series. But no, they meet, and the dialogue is pretty much like, what have you become? I am what you've made me. And that's that. They have a couple of slashes, a couple of fights. It's not that, like, I'm like, dude, when fan films do it better, because I don't even care. Star Wars SC-38 reimagined, that's canon as far as I'm concerned. So I feel like the confrontation, they should have held off on that. I imagine there's going to be another one where this was the one where it kind of shocked Obi-Wan, caught him off guard, and they have like, clash, all right, it's over. And there might be another one. I'm just saying they probably should have held off on the confrontation until the last episode. Also, this whole thing I felt like was a retcon, or at least an explanation for what Vader told Luke in Return of the Jedi, where he said, Obi-Wan once thought as you did, when Luke was like, hey, come with me, father. And so, but Obi-Wan never thought that. Obi-Wan at least never said that. Obi-Wan was like, I will do what I must. I'm here to kill you. So I was like, okay, so that's gonna be in this show, but that wasn't really the dialogue, so there has to be another confrontation, another face-to-face at least. But the more you have Darth Vader and Obi-Wan square off or clash before A New Hope, the less special that confrontation between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader in A New Hope becomes. You're diluting the currency, so to speak. My favorite part of it is another thing where I'm like, so does that imply that Obi-Wan has half his body burned right now? Bath to tanks, they heal everything. But it's when Vader takes this flammable liquid across the ground and lights it and then just pulls Obi-Wan into the fire. That was actually really cool and poetic. You know Obi-Wan was thinking at that moment, he was like, this is a fraction of the pain Anakin went through when he had his whole body burned. There's a difference between knowing it and knowing it. It's the difference between knowing and feeling, you know? Now Obi-Wan has felt it. But I remember seeing a story where fire freaked Vader out. Like, he's afraid of fire. So either that's Legends or just not taken into account in the Obi-Wan series. Or maybe he got over that fear because he's like, no, fear is my strength. Fear and pain, right? I gaze on the fire and I remember how much it hurts. And it hurts him that way. That's amazing. It would have been kind of neat if you just see Vader take a step back while he's burning Obi-Wan. You know, just one shot of his foot or something. Just to insinuate that he just doesn't want to be that close to fire. There's just one line. Fire. At least it's not sand. And in the end, I like this episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi more than the other 2 episodes. Yeah, I wish they'd held off on the Darth Vader and Obi-Wan having their face-to-face thing. And I will say, if Darth Vader hadn't pulled Obi-Wan into the fire, I would like it less. There's something about that I like. Maybe I'm a dark person, but you know Vader was thinking like, this is what it felt like, motherfucker. And Obi-Wan was like, oh, this is what it felt like, motherfucker. I like the fact that he felt his pain for a second. The thing that really hit me in here was when Reva was going to the Inquisitor stronghold and is playing this other theme that's just not the Imperial March. It's like, who owns the rights to the Imperial March? Can we not play it in Star Wars anymore? Because it would go a long way to making it feel like the same universe, the same world, if the Imperial March played when Imperial types were on screen doing their thing in Imperial palaces and Imperial places. I mean, in a world where Mark Wahlberg's ringtone in Ted played the Imperial March, apparently what? They can play it in Ted? They can't play it in Star Wars movies? In Star Wars shows? I just find it weird. It's like, why would you not have that kind of continuity in the universe? Alright, so episode 3 of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What'd you think about it? Whatever you thought, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.